Ingrid Hanla, a young girl from Bogota, Colombia, with her parents and sisters, had a near-death experience. I was nearly 3 when I got injured. My parents hired a housekeeper to watch us while they worked. Our parents were away, so the young woman ignored us. After they left, she watched soap operas in her room to relax. I was the oldest of 2 sisters. My oldest sister was nearly 4, and my youngest was 1. I played on the patio with my oldest sister. This memory is so vivid that I can still see the patio with 2 balls. Our plan was to play catch. We had a ball, and to one side was a gigantic tank for hand-washing clothes. We played catch across the tank. We found some excrement in this huge aquarium. My sister hid on the level area next to the tank while I crossed. Bending my knees, I risked falling over the tank's razor-thin edge. I just cared about fun when I was 2. My younger sister couldn't throw the ball hard enough to cross the tank, so it fell into the water. I believed I could touch the ball from so close. While reaching for it, it fell on the water's surface, and I dropped into the depths. The chilly, stinging cold was my initial impression. Like my chest had collapsed, I couldn't breathe. I could hear my sister's pleas and attempts to pull me up, but she was helpless. I woke up to my heart hammering in my head. I miraculously turned from afraid to at peace at that moment. After everything was resolved, there was no need to protest. I also experienced the silence behind the silence, complete quiet. Another notable characteristic was contrast. My last visual image of the cement tank was pitch black. The peacefulness was interrupted by a light. It illuminated everything around me from below. As I looked around, I saw sparkling bubbles around the lake. I swung around to find a lifeless person floating in the sea after following these bubbles. A strong awareness that it was my body. My respiration was poor when I was born. Now I was deeply content. After seeing the dead in the water, I never wanted to return. I don't want to be there because I'm sick, stuck, and unfree. I'm getting out of here. This body needn't follow me. While in this other reality, I materialized in the maid's chamber as if watching her from above. I can still see her in bed listening to the radio soap opera. My first thought was, oh, that's Maria. She didn't understand what was happening. Another second later, I was on my mom's road. Just moments ago, she left her residence for work. She walked because she didn't have a car. Like the maid, I saw her from above and thought, that's Mom. She felt like something was happening at home just then. It felt like I knew her thinking. One of my babies is having an incident, she thought. She abruptly turned around as she ran home. Seeing her made me realize my thoughts might go wherever. It would be fantastic to be at the street's end right now. As an animal, I'd be there. In that moment, I felt free from time and place. There were no limits. My understanding of everyone's actions was complete. I dissolved into pure, dazzling light in an instant. For the first time in 3 years, I felt at home, which made it unforgettable. I was relieved to find my home. I felt like I was in a dream. My self-esteem plummeted when I felt welcome. I felt like I was merging with the universe. After that, I felt non-self or nothingness when sharing my experiences. Nothing was described, only quiet, color, motion, meaning, and sound. No thought remained. I was existence at the moment. My mom got home just as I was entering this stage. She ran to the back of the house, knowing where to go. She found my sister near the aquarium on level ground. Mom pulled me out of the water by reaching into the tank. After the fact, she called me a rag doll for my white skin and blue lips. My body was lifeless. Everything was irrelevant to me since I was detached from reality. That moment, my mom's life aim was to save me from the tank. She would have been lost without her childcare background CPR training. She pulled me from the pool and saved me. Everything happened fast. Being dragged back was like jumping from the world's tallest building or airplane. I couldn't resist the pull. My return was marked by uneasiness, frigidity, illness, and restricted movement. I didn't enjoy returning. That started our problems, and I got sicker. I would starve myself to death and yell at my mom, "You don't understand," to address my eating condition. Indeed, this is not me. I don't belong here or have this name. This child is not me. I am not a child. This is my physical condition. My consciousness expanded. I saw my parents as my equals as I watched them. My lost skills returned too. I soon learned to read, write, do math, and solve complex puzzles. My mom and everyone else couldn't believe this youngster was suffering. I had trouble communicating with other students since they seemed clueless. Why are these people acting this way? No amount of internet, TV, or books could have helped people understand what was happening. Colombia lacked near-death experience knowledge. Colombia was at war, and nobody knew. My parents concerned largely about daily survival. They continued their lives as I recovered. Indeed, I did. I received miraculous help while I was at my lowest point. I was taken by a higher power while sleeping. I had no notion I was having OBs. Even though it was disturbing, I wanted it to happen since it took me to that light dimension. The only thing I enjoyed was sleeping. During one adventure, I saw multicolored angelic beings around me. I then thought, wow, a light being is here. A hand touched me. You are a being of light. Yes, then. I felt better immediately in their company, and my sense of home in that sphere of light expedited my mending. I felt better, ate again, and talked to everyone. Strong love made nothing essential, even though they accomplished nothing. My first lesson was that everything will be fine. Even if I didn't always understand it, everything happened for a reason and in perfect order. We do not know this since we are only a little part of the entire. Nobody has explained anything to us. Later in adulthood, I recognized the light creatures were teaching me that home was an emotional state, not a geographical location. Home is now in heaven,